Crookes radiometer, powered by light. Isn't it wonderful? My subscribers and members, just like my patrons, are scientifically proven to be smarter than the average bear. I want to give massive thanks to each and every one of my supporting patrons. Thank you. So Kyle Adams of the Flat Earth Institute of Science is today going to destroy Earth sciences. Take it away, Kyle, and roll VT.
As many can attest, when you join the censored Earth community, you are given a new set of eyes. Now, I've studied Earth science before, but now that I've been given a new set of eyes, I'm going to go back and take another look and tell you what I see. This is modern Earth science destroyed.
Wow.
Introducing Earth science.
Studying the Earth is like putting together a complex jigsaw puzzle that is made up of pieces that are constantly changing shape.
A bit like all of science, really.
As time passes, many of the pieces change so much that they don't even resemble their original shape. Or worse yet, some of the pieces are even destroyed or replaced with different pieces. The only constant in this puzzle is change. Does this description surprise you?
Not really. Things change. New things are discovered. New theories or ideas are brought forward, tested, revised, accepted, thrown away. That's the way it is.
Perhaps you think of the Earth as being constant and unchanging. After all, the Earth is made up of some very durable materials, such as rock. Compared to most things, rock does not seem to change much. Appearances, however, can be deceiving. The Earth, in fact, undergoes incredible changes. It's just that many of these changes happen very, very slowly.
And when you say very slowly, we're talking about very slowly. We're talking about millions and millions and even billions of years. Not 6,000 to 10,000 years.
So what do you think about all that?
Well, the Earth certainly does go through a great amount of change, so I agree with them about that. But the principles and concepts involved in how the world works are the things that don't change. That is my opinion anyway.
Yeah, well, we're all entitled to opinions. Opinions are like arseholes, really. We've all got them, but it doesn't really do to air them in public.
And I openly acknowledge it as such.
So are your opinions the things that destroy what is written in this book?
No. Let's continue on and you'll see what I mean.
Alright, let's keep reading. Of course, not everything on Earth occurs slowly. Earthquakes, tornadoes, tidal waves, and lightning strikes, for example, occur so quickly they pose their own sets of problems for Earth scientists. Imagine the task of studying a phenomenon that occurs randomly at an unknown location and only lasts for 30 seconds.
What, a bit like a flat earther getting something correct?
That's exactly what Earth scientists face when they study earthquakes. Seem impossible? It is difficult, but not impossible. Such studies require creativity and an innovation. This site was a seabed about 200 million years ago. Much has happened here since then. Today it is known as El Capitan of the Guadalupe Mountains.
El Capitan of Guadalupe.
Let's circle that right there.
Oh.
Do you think the authors of this book are 200 million years old?
I don't know. Is that possible? I've not met them. I think it's unlikely. No, I think I'll agree. It's unlikely that the authors of this book are 200 million years old. Your point?
No, not at all.
They're making a claim here and don't provide any evidence to support their claim.
I believe this is an introduction to Earth science. It's just a basic chat about what Earth science is. It's not making any claims. They are mentioning that those rocks are 200 million years old or whatever, but they're not making a claim. They're just reporting someone else's claim. Of course, that claim will have been tested many, many times.
They are saying this is true because they said so.
No, this is true because someone else said so and had evidence to back it up.
Or they are expressing an opinion and are treating it as though it were a fact.
No, because otherwise, what's to prevent them saying it's 100 million, 500 million years old? I mean, they can't just write things like that, publish them in books, and not have it officially queried unless it's based in fact.
That is a problem.
Yeah. Science is the systematic knowledge of the physical or material world gained through observation and experimentation.
And that's exactly what will have been done. There'll be fossil dating, there'll be various forms of radiometric dating and so on to establish the age of those rocks when they were laid down. They didn't just pull that figure from their butt.
According to dictionary.com, without observation and experimentation, we can't call that claim science. It is important to notice when the authors make these kinds of claims, far too much dogma out there is based on opinion rather than fact.
Well, of course, you're going to back up everything you say, Kyle, with hard evidence and not just opinion.
And this happens when people choose to just go with the flow and fail to recognize when claims like this are being made. Scientific doctrine should be based on well-founded conclusions rather than flimsy hypotheses.
And that's what science is, Kyle. And that's exactly what Flat Earth isn't. There is no evidence, hard evidence, measurable evidence, experiments that can be replicated by others that show the Earth is flat. No, every experiment supports the fact that the Earth is a globe. All the evidence is that the Earth is a globe. Hell, I sent a balloon up and took imagery of the Earth as a globe. More about that in a while.
Now, as many might recall, in my Censored Earth series, I previously did a video entitled Cards on the Table.
Censored? Why was it censored? I'd not heard of that. I'd like to know what it was you said that caused YouTube, I'm assuming YouTube, to censor you.
Now let me show you how this works. Herein the authors of the book have laid a card on the table. I just refuted their card and have explained the problems I see with their card.
No, you raised a question which can be easily answered. The answer is there is evidence to support those rocks being laid down 200 million years ago. Your refutation is refuted.
Now, if their card was a cake, rather than complaining about the only cake on the table,
isn't there any coffee and walnut cake? I like coffee and walnut cake.
I am going to provide a better cake.
Coffee and walnut, excellent.
And put that on the table. And I am going to try and do this as often as I can throughout this series.
So I'm going to get loads and loads and loads of coffee and walnut cake. Kyle, you are a star.
I like that. We're not trying to knock their cake off the table and leave them with nothing.
You better not. I like coffee and walnut cake.
We want to provide people with something better.
Better than coffee and walnut cake?
Can you imagine if everyone did that?
That looks like a cow pat. That looks awful. What sort of cake is that? It's not coffee and walnut cake, is it?
It could lead to some pretty amazing cake.
And some very, very fat flat earthers.
If you feel like you have an even better cake than the one I present, I want to see it and take a bite of it.
Look, I know that you're now going to push your strange debate board website thing. You know, it's absolutely fine, but I, for one, am not interested in it. I'd rather have a one-on-one discussion debate. So I'll probably whiz through this.
Please present it on our public debate board. There's a link to that in the description. Alright, so here's my cake. People
That's not cake. That looks like sedimentary rock to me.
often judge the age of a mountain by the layers of dirt they see in a mountainside.
Oh yeah, kind of like judging the age of a tree by counting the number of tree rings.
Not exactly, but Yeah-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, but layers of dirt work differently than the rings on a tree. These are the results of a soil test. When you do a soil test, you go out and take different samples of soil from different places in your yard, put them in a jar, pour some water in, and shake it up really well so that it is all suspended in the water. And then you just wait and watch it all settle. After letting it sit, these are the results of one such soil test.
Excellent. And you can see the heavier particles, the sand at the very bottom, and then the silts and the fine clays, and of course the organic matter, which is bits of twig and leaf and stuff like that on top. Yeah, fine. So we've got some hydrostatic sorting there. Excellent.
Now, does it take millions of years to get the soil to settle in layers like this?
No, it doesn't take millions of years to get the soil to settle in layers like that.
No, it doesn't even take a full day to get results like this. I'll also point out that I have rings of sediment on this plastic pitcher, and it didn't take millions of years for these rings to form, nor is this pitcher millions of years old.
Yeah, that's something entirely different. Leave that aside. Forget your pitcher. Go back to your jam jar of dirt.
So do the layers of dirt on a mountainside suggest that the mountain is millions of years old?
Yes, because it's nothing at all like your jam jar full of dirt. That was hydrostatically sorted. The large particles are all at the bottom. If you look closely at these sedimentary rocks, you will find multiple layers, not sorted just by size. You can see several light streaks, several dark streaks. Those light streaks, I don't know what they are just from the photo, but those different light streaks may actually be exactly the same material laid down at a later point. There is no sorting large particles to small particles. Otherwise you would get no small particles near the bottom. And are you really suggesting that some sort of flood could have laid down all those different layers in a day? And if it did, two questions arise. One, where the hell did all that dirt come from? And two, how on earth did a flood, and it's water, which finds its own level, end up piling it up to make a mountain and not one great big flat plain?
No. A massive flood could produce results like that in a relatively short amount of time.
So what we need now, Kyle, is your evidence to make it scientific. I'll wait. Got any coffee and walnut cake to keep me going?
So here is my cake.
That's not coffee and walnut cake. It looks better than the other one, but that's not coffee and walnut cake. I feel let down.
It doesn't take millions of years to produce mountains like those.
No, I'd have thought about an hour and a half at gas mark 7.
And because I have backed up my claim with observation and experimentation...
And some chocolate fingers. Kyle, this is not science in any way, shape or form. It's not observation. You've got two totally unrelated things. You've got deposition sedimentary deposition forming layers which over millions and millions of years compress into rock, and you've got a jam jar of dirt from your garden. It is not the same thing.
I can claim that my cake has more flavor.
Okay. Still not coffee and walnut cake, is it though?
And I can call my claim a scientific one.
Then, as I said, where's your evidence? Would you like to produce a paper on your rock cake there?
Again, if you think you have a better cake, don't put it in the comments section. Put it on the debate board.
I've got a better cake. My cake is called Mage. I produced a results video that shows the Mage flight, what we were looking to get. It shows evidence of atmospheric pressure as it descends in a nice, smooth gradient. You can see the balloon that expands due to the atmospheric gradient, And finally, you can see videography of the curve of the Earth. That's my cake, and it's a pretty tasty one. Although there's still no walnuts in it or coffee.
Where we can study it in depth. If your cake is truly better than mine, I'll happily toss mine in the trash and celebrate yours.
You can keep your hands off my cake. My cake is mine. Toss your own cake.
All right, let's continue.
Earth scientists use elaborate systems to pinpoint the location of earthquakes, yet they still do not know enough to predict when and where they will occur.
But apparently they use very, very dated PCs on their beds.
Earth scientists also beat the odds when they study remote locations. Consider the difficulty of exploring the bottom of the ocean at depths of more than 10 kilometers. Or consider the exploration of other planets and outer space.
Consider the lilies. Oh, that's something different really, isn't it? Got to carry on.
Earth scientists use technology in new and incredible ways to achieve such difficult observation and studies. Meteorologist, geologist, oceanographer, and astronomer are all specialties within the area of Earth science. Together, these scientists attempt to understand our physical home within the universe.
Yes, they attempt to understand it by studying, by observing, by coming up with theories, by testing those theories, etc. They don't just shake a jam jar in their garden and say, there you go, there's sedimentary deposition. That's not science. Not in any way, shape or form.
Such understanding will help us make wise decisions both now and in the future. Oceanographers often go to great depths and take great risks to add to their understanding of the oceans.
They do go to great depths. I like that little joke. Well done.
Hot situations such as this one on the right are not unusual for an Earth scientist who study volcanoes. Begin your own journey of understanding by turning the page and entering the realm of Earth science. I'm proud to be your guide on what I hope to be a fascinating and enlightening experience. From Robert J. Sagar.
Well, thank you, Robert J. Sagar, for that introduction to Earth science. So there were no hard claims made there, Kyle. It was just an introduction to some book or other. Oh, what's this? Lab and field safety.
We're going to skip these safety precaution pages.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me?
I hope you don't mind. Although this part about explosion danger really gets me wondering what kind of experiments are in this book.
Just don't blow yourself up.
No, find someone else to blow you. Did I say that out loud?
All right, so here is our debate board.
Oh, go on then, tell us a little bit about your debate board. We can all join in. It'll be a sort of mass debate.
We try to model our debate board off of a concept map as much as possible. We're going to add each page of the book to the debate board so anyone can highlight anything and make commentary about it.
Are you really going to try and debunk the introduction to a book?
Here I have the first page, and down below in the red boxes, I've attached my 4 counter-arguments to their claim about the age of the seabed.
Okay.
My first counter-argument is, the authors of the book are not 200 million years old and can't verify the age of the seabed as first-hand witnesses.
Right. You cannot use that as an argument. How many people in this world are older than, let's say, 140 years old? None. Therefore, we can't know anything about anything before 1880, can we? Because there are no first-hand witnesses. It doesn't work. We've got other ways of telling. We've got books, we've got photos, we've got recordings, we've got written testimony. Being a first-hand witness is not the only way to witness something. Besides which, you can see the evidence left behind. For instance, Stone Age tools. We can, and Roman vases and so on, we can examine those. We're not first-hand witnesses to a Roman storing wine in some sort of amphora or whatever they're called, but we've got the actual remains, so we know things have happened. That's evidence that's been left behind. So it's the same with earth science as well. We can see fossils, we can see sediment, we can see different types of rock and so on. We do not have to be there to be able to have evidence showing that something happened.
My second counter argument is a claim without observation and experimentation to back it up is not a scientific claim.
Absolutely, which is why if you take radiometric readings of those rocks, you'll get an age. There's your observation, backing it up. It's a scientific claim.
My next counter argument is all the authors have given us to go on the matter is their word for it. They're saying, we are the experts, therefore you should trust us.
No, this is some sort of teaching book. So of course they're going to tell you how something is. But if you want to check it, you can go and check it. I bet you £1 to a penny that any claims in that book are backed up with citations.
This is the genetic fallacy, where someone judges something as either good or bad, or right or wrong, just because of where it came from.
There is such a thing as genetic fallacy, but I don't think it applies here.
Just because someone has a PhD doesn't mean they are infallible
Absolutely.
and incapable of saying something that is wrong.
They can, yep.
Nor does that mean that someone without a PhD is incapable of saying something that is right.
That's absolutely true as well, Kyle. However, if you were someone without a PhD in let's say, some earth sciences, like myself, I do not have a PhD in that. I may say something that's correct, but I think I would probably be wise to at least listen to those who do have PhDs, who have studied it for many years, who have made a career in it, who have put out papers that nobody has been able to refute. Because the chances are they're going to know better than me.
Now, if you see something you disagree with, just make a box and write your counter argument in the box.
Can I make a box around a whole lot and say that's tripe?
We go with red boxes for counter arguments, and then we just take an arrow and point it to the claim that we disagree with. On the debate board, you'll notice that we have already uploaded each of the pages of the next lesson. If you can make some good comments on any of that, we'll be sure to include them in our next lesson.
You know, looking at this book, it doesn't really look much like a science textbook. I think we're going to do a little bit of digging and find out what this book is, who it's for, when it was written.
So that is it for the introduction. Please note how we did not disagree with everything that was written.
Well, you only went through the introduction and you disagreed with, if you could call it a claim, the only claim that was in it.
But in fact, celebrated the common ground that we were able to establish.
What, that we like cake, although you have not delivered any coffee and walnut cake, and I've finished my coffee. Great. Thanks, Kyle. Let's have a look at this book. Well, I did a little bit of digging, and I found the book. It's still available on Amazon. Modern Earth Science, Student Edition 2002. Grade level 9 and up. Reading level 14 years. Kyle, this is not a heavyweight detailed scientific book. It's an introduction for teenagers. I'm afraid that you have not destroyed all of Earth Sciences. Kyle, destroying all of Earth Sciences in a short YouTube video does seem rather ambitious. I'm going to put a smaller challenge to you. I want you to watch this video. It's my Mage results video. This full explanation of what I did, why I did it, and what the results are. I'd like you to please watch that, and then perhaps you could produce a debunk video explaining why it's wrong. Or we can have a one-on-one debate like we have before and talk about it. I'd quite enjoy that. I think that, as I said, destroying all of Earth Sciences just like that is rather ambitious. Perhaps you could work your way towards it via banking or accountancy. Until next time, my friends, stay sensible.
Shut up! and sit down.